Hey guys, what's up? My name's Kayla from PlanningWithKay, and welcome to another video. I am so excited to be back because today I'm going to show you how I'm setting up all of my May monthly bullet journal spreads. As you may know, every single month I use a new theme in my bullet journal, which helps to keep things really fun and exciting for me. And my patrons over on patreon.com/planningwithkay are the ones who actually choose my themes every month through monthly theme polls that I post over there. I then design my own sticker collection every month based on whatever the winning theme is. So for my May spreads, I decided to use my magical forest themed sticker collection, full of gnomes, unicorns, fairies, mushrooms, and other sparkly magical elements. And this entire sticker collection is of course available for purchase in my sticker shop at planningwithkay.com, including the 3-sheet monthly kit, a single decorative sheet of magical creatures, and finally a matching functional add-on sheet. Along with the Magical Forest collection, I also just listed the Dinosaur Dreamland sticker collection up in my shop. This is the theme that I used to set up my April bullet journal spreads in my last Plan With Me video. So both of these collections are also available for purchase digitally, which includes PNG and PDF files if you want to print them out yourself or use them in a digital planner. And of course, you can always just purchase the classic physical stickers to be mailed to you. Either way, if you do decide to make a purchase from my shop for the next week, be sure to use the coupon code MAGIC20 for 20% off your entire order. And don't forget that every single order from my shop always comes with a full-sized freebie sheet. Finally, I wanted to share with you all this newest sunflower sticker collection that I literally just finished a couple days ago, and I'm going to be using this for my June theme. I asked for theme suggestions in my last video, and this little series of comments here from Kia and Michaela are what inspired this sunflower collection. So thank you so much to you both for your comment suggestions. The sunflower collection is going to be shipping out to all of my April $15 and up patrons before it becomes available in my shop publicly. If this video is out before May 1st, then there's still time to sign up on Patreon to receive this, but if it's after May 1st, you're just going to have to wait for the public shop release, or you can sign up for Patreon for the month of May to automatically receive whatever the next sticker collection is going to be. Before I post the next theme poll on Patreon, I also want to get your suggestions once again, so let me know down in the comments below what is the next theme you want to see me do. I'll be compiling your suggestions into a poll for my patrons to vote on again, and if your theme suggestion wins, I will send you that sticker collection for free as a thank you for your suggestion. So with all that being said, if you want to check out my shop, my Patreon, or if you just want to know about any of the supplies I'm using, be sure to read through the description below for all of those links. Alright, so with all of that out of the way, let me start talking about this cover page that I'm setting up right here. So of course, I had to use my watercolors to go along with this theme. I've been consistently using watercolors in my journal for quite a few months now, and I'm still absolutely in love with it, and this month is definitely no exception. I decided to paint in these little watercolor plant doodles along with some magical little sparkles to tie all of my spreads together this month, using just 4 different colors from my Kuretake Gansai Tombow watercolor set that perfectly match the stickers that I'm going to be using. The specific colors I'm using are as follows. We have a dark purple, which is number 139, a vibrant blue, which is number 66, a pinkish purple, number 37, and finally a bright electric green, which is number 59. So first thing I did was paint in all of these simple plants poking out from the sides of the spread, focusing on the green, pinks, and purples for those, and then I just went in and painted in a blue background behind them, leaving a bit of white space around all my plants and sparkles to really make them pop off that background. So once I have these watercolor sidebars done, I'm then going to use the purple and blue watercolors together to letter in the month of May all the way across this spread. I don't usually do my lettering in watercolor, but I do dabble with it from time to time, and every single time I love it so much. Not only the final product, but also just the process itself. It's very calming. It's a lot slower and more deliberate than when I do lettering with a pen or marker like usual. And I just really enjoy lettering with watercolor, I'm realizing. So I'm making a mental note right now to do it more often in my bullet journal. My main tip for watercolor lettering, in case you want any tips and tricks, would probably be to find the right brush for the job. I find that round brushes with super pointy tips are easiest for me. You can see how the end of this brush that I'm using comes together at a super small point. So if I barely put any pressure on it, it can create a very thin line. With a little more pressure at an angle, it can create a thicker stroke. And that's what really helps to make those thin and thick strokes that you want when lettering. I was switching between a few different brushes throughout this video, all of which I'd highly recommend. So I'll be sure to link those brushes down in the description below in case you're interested in the supplies that I'm using. Remember that I always list my supplies down in the description of my videos. So for any video, if you're ever wondering about my supplies, always try and take a peek down there. And I always try to list everything. Underneath my main May title, I'm going to be including a quote, just like I always do on my cover spreads. I was filming this video while live streaming on my Patreon, so I asked the chat to give me some magic-related quotes throughout this setup. So credit for this quote specifically goes to my patron Beck, also known as Sassy Pigeon HQ on Instagram, and the quote reads, "Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." I decided to use some watercolor as well for the word magic, and I added in some colorful sparkles around it to really up the magical vibes. And now it's time for stickers, the moment I've been waiting for when I get to use my new stickers for the first time. So I decided to showcase some of the little magical creatures on this spread, all lined up along the bottom, some frogs, gnomes, and a little fairy right in the middle. So with the addition of a few more sparkles, that is it for this cover spread, a really bright and colorful intro to the month, and it's time to set up my May calendar spread. So this whole setup is going to be a bit different this month because I decided to make all of my May monthly spreads Dutch door spreads with the right side cut off on all of them. So this ends up just separating my monthly spreads into like their own little section. And it also makes it so that there are going to be two sidebars that are visible no matter which spread you flip to. As I create these spreads, you'll get to see how this setup comes to life, but I really love how this ended up working out, and I'm definitely going to be doing this again in the future. So I'm starting off first by filling in those sidebars, which again are going to be visible on the sides of all of my monthly spreads. This one on the right is going to end up being a big header that says monthly overview. But first I'm creating just a simple watercolor background, just doing a color wash of all those same colors from before, making sure to work quickly so that the paint on the paper stays wet enough to get that nice, smooth, blended look. On the left, I'm going to create a simple decorative sidebar, just carrying over those same watercolor plant doodles with the bright blue background from my cover spread. I'm also going to put in some real-time watercolor footage right here so that you guys can get a more realistic look at my process. I know that seeing the time-lapse version can be a little bit deceiving because it's sped up so much that it's a little bit hard to see what's really going on, how quickly or slowly I'm working, how many times I go over the same spot, how I reload the paint onto my brush, all of those little process details. If you have a preference for real-time versus time-lapse footage in Plan With Me videos, definitely let me know down in the comments below. I'm always curious about your preferences when it comes to how I edit my videos, what I talk about in my voiceovers, all that jazz. So please never hesitate to give me your feedback in the comments. It is always welcomed and appreciated. Now on the right sidebar, I'm going to stick in the monthly overview header I was talking about. This big vertical header sticker was part of the Patreon exclusive sheet from this collection, and it's honestly the whole reason why I did this Dutch door setup in the first place. I just love this header so much, so I wanted to make sure I got as much use out of it as physically possible. So that's why I decided to make sure it's visible throughout this entire setup by utilizing those Dutch door sidebars, and absolutely no regrets there. I'm so happy that this sticker inspired this Dutch door layout because, like I said, I'm really happy with how it ends up turning out, and I love it so much that I'm probably going to try it again next month. So with those sidebars done, it's time now to actually draw in my May calendar. This is actually my first hand-drawn calendar spread since last year, since I've been using my single-page dated large calendar stickers. And I gotta say, those stickers have been ridiculously convenient. It's been great not having to fill in the dates myself, but I figured it was time for a change nonetheless. So I wanted to try something a little bit larger this month, with each day taking up a box that's 5 spaces wide by 5 spaces tall. I included a set of 1 through 31 number stickers as a part of the Magical Forest monthly kit, so I'm using those to fill in the dates on my calendar right here. I just love how the stickers match the watercolor so perfectly, and honestly, just this color scheme in general is probably my favorite ever. I always gravitate towards cool tones. My favorite color is like a good teal, greenish blue type color. So this green, blue, purple vibe is 100% my jam, and this whole theme was just really pleasing and satisfying for me to set up. At the top of this spread, I stuck in a big header from my monthly kit that shows my cat Luna trekking across a magical bridge somewhere in the forest. And I labeled the days of the week at the top of the calendar with some more stickers from the Patreon-only sheet. After lettering in my May header with a black Crayola marker at the top, I'm finally going to finish this spread off with another quote at the bottom, this time suggested by my lovely patron Megan, and that reads, "Magic comes from within." With that quote all done, that's it for my simple May calendar spread, and time to move on to the rest of my monthly setup. So on the left page of this next spread, I'm going to create a separate section for my bills that are due throughout the month of May, as well as all of my Patreon live streams that I have scheduled throughout this month. These are 2 things that I'm most prone to forgetting or overlooking, which is why I always like to have a separate section aside from my calendar to keep track of them. So I'm basically creating a vertical calendar for these 2 sections, just drawing in a box that's 31 spaces tall and 16 spaces wide, split down the middle to create 2 separate columns. And I'm using a number strip sticker from the freebie sheet that comes with all of shop orders to label the dates along the side. After I write in my headers along the top, I'm just separating each week with a line to make this a little bit easier to fill out throughout the month, and that's how I'm keeping track of these 2 categories. Now on the right side here, I decided to put in my brain dump, which is a monthly staple for me, but my patron Cherie suggested that I give it a title fitting with the theme. So this page is officially dubbed the Chamber of Thoughts, which sounds so dramatic, it honestly cracks me up. I'm definitely gonna have to get more creative with my spread titles moving forward like this, because this little detail really brings me a lot of joy. So I just drew in 3 boxes for 3 different categories, one for my monthly to-do items that I want to keep track of, one for any ideas I come up with throughout the month, and finally a category labeled Other for any notes or thoughts that I need to jot down. So moving swiftly along through the magical forest, I'm now going to be setting up my daily review, which is going to have a spot to jot down a summary of each day, along with a little space to track my mood throughout the month. I'm using a number strip sticker from the functional add-on sheet that matches this whole theme, and I'm using these circle list stickers again from the freebie sheet, and these blank circles are going to be my mood tracker this month. I've been doing a lot more involved, like doodle style mood trackers the last few months, so I decided to mix it up by doing something a little bit simpler. So I'm just going to fill in the little circle next to each day with whatever color represents my mood. And I did forget to leave room for a color code for that mood tracker, but you'll see later where I end up squeezing that in. Now on the right side of this spread is where I'm going to put my gratitude log for this month. I've seriously been loving my gratitude logs this year, especially since the last 6 months or so have honestly just been really tough for me. A lot of really difficult personal family things have come up like month after month after month, and when life keeps throwing you these hard punches, it's easy to get bogged down mentally in all that negativity. But my gratitude log has been such a saving grace as a way for me to deliberately focus on all the good. I really appreciate that after a really tough month when everything seemed to go wrong, I can look back at my gratitude page and see a giant list of positive things that happened, milestones, grateful feelings, happy moments. It really does help me to just zoom out and appreciate all the positive things in life. And I've really been appreciating that. That actually makes me think that I should write down my gratitude log on my gratitude log, because I'm just super grateful for it. I really am, and it continues to be an amazing part of my journal. So I just created a bunch of empty spaces here to fill out throughout the month with things I'm grateful for, and I don't require myself to fill this out like on any specific days or anything. I just try to fill it all up throughout the month. The last thing I need to do for this spread is squeeze in that color code that I forgot about, and that's it for this daily review and gratitude spread. I feel like this spread is going to be a really nice comprehensive summary of my month, and I'm really excited to start using it. So speeding right along through this bullet journal setup, I'm now going to create some monthly habit trackers. If you watched my last Plan With Me video, you'll know that I ended up taking a break from my habit trackers last month. So coming back to it this month, I wanted to try to do something a little bit different from what I'd normally do. Usually I'd track a good amount of habits throughout the month, like maybe 12 or 15, but this time I decided to scale it down a lot and limit myself to only 5 monthly habits. And I'm excited to see if focusing in on a limited number of habits like this makes it a little bit easier to accomplish my goals throughout the month. For example, we're moving at the beginning of June, which is always stressful, and it means that we have to save up money for all the moving expenses, security deposits, stuff like that. So I included a habit of putting money away into my savings account every day, which I'm hoping is going to encourage me to just put something away every single day, even if it's just a little bit. If that habit was like on a longer list of habits, I feel like I'd be much more inclined to just brush it off or skip it and not pay it any attention. But having its own big space here, I'm hoping is going to help motivate me more to really, really try and check it off every single day. So we'll see how that works. My other habits are more standard for me. I have a tracker to track my work days, one for answering my Patreon messages, one for drinking water, and finally one for marking off when I wake up early. I'm also using these mini circular tracker stickers from my shop to set up all of these individual trackers. So I'll just fill in the day for each day that I complete one of these habits. And that's it for my habit trackers for this month. So this next spread here is going to be the final monthly spread that's in this little Dutch door section. Don't worry, I'm still going to be setting up a weekly spread after this, but first I'm creating my monthly playlist page, which is just a spot for me to jot down the movies, books, and music that I consume throughout the month. I've really been loving this page the last few months, and I think a big part of that is I am now a new self-proclaimed bookworm. I've been seriously trying to rekindle my love of reading for like 10, 15 years, and it's always a goal of mine. It's always a New Year's resolution to read more, and I've never been able to end up doing it. I'd read like 3 chapters of a book in January and then not touch it again the rest of the year. But something happened this year and it finally clicked, and I did it. I'm a book nerd now. I'm loving it. I finished 11 books since January, which for me is incredible. It makes me so proud and happy just thinking about it. And it's a new hobby of mine that just really brings me a lot of joy and value. So having a space to write down the books I read each month is really fun for me. It gets me excited, and it's something I really look forward to. I've also really been loving the music section of this page because it's been encouraging me to find new music the last few months, which is something I'm always meaning to do. So all in all, my playlist page has just been really fun for me recently. I love seeing all the new books, movies, and music I'm discovering, and it also makes me excited to continue discovering new things as time goes on. I also created a quote page next to my playlist here, just using a printable from my Patreon for that glowy blue background. So with that spread done, that is it for all of my Dutch Door monthly overview spreads. I'm now just going to flip the page and finish things off by getting ready for the first full week of May with a little weekly spread. So my weekly is going to have a few different sections. Firstly, I'm going to have a spot for each day to jot down my to-do lists. I'm also going to have a separate section for my bills and live streams for the week. And finally, just a general weekly to-do list for any tasks that aren't day specific. So first, I'm working on the daily sections at the bottom. Each day is going to get a box that is 10 spaces tall by 13 spaces wide. And I'm just going to use the extra box as a little decorative space to paint in the same watercolor plant doodles from the rest of my monthly spreads to really tie it all together. This definitely feels very inspired by Sammy Journals over on Instagram, so I gotta shout her out right here. She does little decorative boxes that kind of look like this with like abstract doodles and patterns, and her account has been inspiring me a lot lately, so I'll link it down in the description below so you can go check her out. I used these little plant daily headers from the Magical Forest monthly kit to label Monday through Sunday in these boxes, and I painted in some colorful dots with my watercolors, over which I'm going to write in the dates for this week, which is May 3rd through 9th. Now up on the top right, I'm going to create my bill schedule and my live stream schedule sections for this week. Again, these are things that I'm most prone to forgetting, which is why I really like to give them their own section, along with also then writing them down a second time in the daily boxes down below. For me, that repetition just really helps to drill things in and make sure I don't forget anything. So I used a little plant patterned washi strip sticker from the Patreon sheet for my headers on that top right page, and I used my whiteout tape roller to actually create these little empty white spaces to write in the bills and live streams headers. It's something I've never done before, but it worked out really well, so that's definitely a little trick I'm going to keep using when I want a header to kind of pop off a busier background. Now to finish this spread off, I just created my main weekly header at the top of the page using this adorable Nomi mushroomy sticker from the monthly kit, and under that I'm going to create a spot for my weekly task list using another washi strip sticker along with a to-do list sticker from the freebie sheet. And with that finishing touch, I am all done with this setup today, and I'm ready to take on the month of May in my bullet journal. I am so happy with how these spreads turned out. This theme really is making my journal feel so magical and whimsical for this month, and I hope you all enjoyed watching me set it all up and talk through the entire process. Don't forget that all of these supplies I used are linked down in the description, and all of the stickers I used, with the exception of that exclusive Patreon-only sheet, are available in my sticker shop, PlanningWithKay.com. I have nearly 50 different themed sticker collections over there that I've designed throughout the years, plus tons of functional stickers for your journals. And don't forget that you can use the code MAGIC20 for 20% off any order placed in the next week. And that is it, guys. I hope you loved this video. If you do, be sure to give it a like and subscribe down below. Also, don't forget to leave your theme suggestions for me down in the comments, and the links to my shop, Patreon, Instagram, TikTok, all that jazz is down in the description below. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.